prayer. This is from the Adhyatma Ramayanam. There are many different Ramayanas composed by different sages. The first one is Valmiki Ramayana, Adi Kavi Valmiki. Then other saints also have composed Ramayana in different languages. In Tamil, there is a Kamba Ramayanam. And Bengali, there is a Krittivas Ramayanam. And Adhyatma Ramayanam is in the form of a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. As the title indicates, the emphasis in Adhyatma Ramayanam is more on Adhyatma, spiritual teachings, and story serves only as a background. And now we have been doing a series of talks on Sunday talks on Sri Rama's instructions to Shabari in the Adhyatma Ramayana. That's not in the Valmiki Ramayana. When Sri Rama meets Shabari, he gives her instructions on how to practice pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti. Not ordinary Bhakti that we all have, Shuddha Bhakti. So that we are studying in a series of Sunday talks. And tomorrow is the last concluding part of that series. So this shloka is from Adhyatma Ramayana. It's on page 92 of the book, The Universal Prayers. The top one, the first one on that page 92. Om Tvam Shuddha Bodhosi Sarvate Kinam Atmasya Dishosi Nirakriti Swayam Pratiyase Jnanadasham Mahamate Padabhya Brangahita Sangha Sanginam. O Lord Omniscient, you are verily the absolute consciousness, the Atman and the master of all beings, the formless reality. You reveal yourself unto those whose eye of knowledge has opened and who, like the bee, have their mind ever fixed on thy lotus feet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. We have been studying chapter 14, and maybe we should be able to complete it today. We were doing shloka number 16, Devi?
Shloka, we finished shloka 21. Swami.
21, okay. Yeah. Shloka 21. This is a very important part of this chapter. Actually, the essence of this chapter is here, the next few shlokas. And Arjuna asks a very important question. This question that Arjuna is going to ask in shloka 21 should remind us of this similar question, Arjuna asked at the end of the second chapter. Remember, Arjuna asked, what are these signs of Sthita Prajna? Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava. That shloka number 54 in chapter 2. In response to that question, Bhagavan Shri Krishna gave a long list of virtues, qualities of a Sthita Prajna. That list serves two purposes, as we studied before. It helps us to identify a person who has those virtues. And then more important purpose is we have to emulate such a person. Whatever virtues such a person has, we have to practice all those virtues. So we also become a Chitta Prajna. That is the more important purpose of that list. Similarly, a very short list of virtues is given here in the 14th chapter. List of virtues of a Trigunatita. This whole chapter is on the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, 14th chapter. So Arjuna's question was how to identify a person, Trigunatita, who has overcome the three gunas, who is no longer under the sway of the three gunas. So that is the question which brings out Sri Krishna's answer, describing the qualities of a Trigunatita. So let us do verse number 21. Arjuna Ovacha, excuse me. Kairlingain strin gunan etan atito bhavati prabho kimachara katham chaitan trin gunan ativartate. Arjuna asked the question, Kairlingai, linga means a visible sign that distinguishes one person, or a person or something, as being different from other beings of the same class. One example of how to understand linga. Linga means not the Shiva Linga that we worship, not that one, different meaning here. For example, there is a police officer. And that police officer, how do you know he's a police officer? Because he's wearing a uniform as a police officer. If he's wearing a regular dress, then we don't know he's a police officer. But if a person wears a uniform that only a police officer can wear, then we know that he's a police officer. That distinguishes him from other people. So that is a linga. How do I know that he's a police officer? Because he wears the dress, uniform. In the same way, how do you know a person is a Trigunatita? He has to have certain visible qualities that we should be able to observe and eventually emulate. So those outward signs, which can be seen by onlookers, that help us to identify a Trigunatita, those are being described. That's what Arjuna is asking Sri Krishna to describe. Kair lingai, by what signs? Trin gunan atitaha bhavati, a person who has transcended the three gunas appears. How can we identify such a person? Imachara. Achara means conduct. How does he behave? In a different way than ordinary people. What are his? What are the signs? How does such a person behave who has become a Trigunatita? How does, as opposed to when the ordinary person behaves? If there is a stimulus, somebody says, you are a fool. Whether true or not, somebody says that to a person like me or anybody. Then how do we react? How does the Trigunatita react? How does an ordinary person react? An ordinary person becomes angry. You are calling me a fool? Like that one. He will call him also fool, and they will altercation will begin, argument will begin. That is how ordinary things happen. Escalation. But Trigunatita, if somebody calls him a fool, how does he behave? He does not react in the same way. He does not become angry. And he will say something very nice and does not become upset. That we know from previous studies. When something like that unpleasant event happens, a Trigunatita does not become upset. His mind does not become perturbed. He remains calm, maintains calmness. That is the difference between a Trigunatita and an ordinary person. Kimacharaha, how does he behave? Katham Chaitan Trin Gunan Ativartate. Etan Trin Gunan, these three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, Katham Ativartate, how does he transcend? We have not been able to transcend the three gunas. We are subject to three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. When you are in a Sattvic mode, we are nice and peaceful, happy, pleasant. When you're Rajasic mode, we are very active, moving about, lot of energy, doing things which are necessary, unnecessary. In a Tamasic mode, if you're in a Tamasic mode, we become angry, yell and scream, or we sleep, inertia, no activity, those things. So we are subject to those three qualities, three gunas. But a Trigunatita, Etan Trin Guna, these three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, Kathamarti or Ativartate, how does he transcend? How does he manage to rise above the three gunas? That Arjuna wants to know. Very important information Arjuna is seeking. Now, the rest of the chapter is Sri Krishna's Bhagwan's answer. So let us do our sloka number 22. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani nanivrittani kankshati. First, very important quality. Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prakasha, Pravritti, Moha. Three words are used in the first line. Prakasham cha, Pravrittim cha, Mohamim cha. What do these three words signify? From the earlier part of this chapter, we know Prakasha means brightness, effulgence. If a person is a sattvic person by nature, there is a certain peace and glow in that person's face. Nice and pleasant feeling, not boisterous, jumping about. Calmness and peace we can notice in such a person's face. If a person is tamasic in nature, then you can see the difference. Something is wrong with that guy. He is very angry and he scowls and not very peaceful within himself. He is subject to become angry very quickly at the slightest provocation. Those are tamasic qualities. So we can see that in a person's face. When you see a person for the first time, we can get a glimpse of that person's nature. First look, first sight. Prakasham is brightness, which signifies, which means the person is sattvic in nature. Sattva guna comes sometimes. Prakasham cha pravrittim. Pravritti means activity, engage, the tendency to become active in all kinds of things. Sometimes necessary activity, sometimes unnecessary activity, sometimes some activity designed to bring benefit for oneself, name and fame. People do all kinds of things to attract attention and to gain something. That's pravritti. That is a sign of rajas. So a person is restless, moving about, doing this, doing that. That means he is rajasic, a tendency. He is under the influence of rajas. We can see that from outside. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham. Moha means delusion. That came in the second chapter. Where did we study moha? How does it come? Second chapter. We should remember old slokas. You can't forget. Sloka number 62-63. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna gives a series of changes that a person's mind goes through. Resulting is Buddhinasha Pranashyati, 62-63. Moha is one stage in that person's life. Moha means when a person becomes angry, krodhat moho vijayate. When a person becomes angry for whatever reason, that person loses the ability to think rationally. We don't know what is right, what is wrong. When under the influence of anger, we do and say things which we would not ordinarily do when you are not angry. Afterwards, we regret when the anger goes away. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? It's too late. That inability to think straight, that is called moha. So that is a sign of tamas. Anger means tamas. And a person becomes angry, he is under the influence of moha, delusion. Not knowing what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done, all that is forgotten. That is sign of tamas. So when a person is under the influence of sattva, rajas and tamas, prakasha, pravritti, moha, then ordinary person becomes influenced by these three gunas, yields to them. But a trigunatita remains unaffected. Whether his mind is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, he or she remains unperturbed, observes them, does not own them, but objectifies them and observes them. If a person says, oh, my mind is not peaceful right now, he makes it an object, he objectifies it. When you objectify something, you don't identify with it yourself, but you keep it separate. See it as a separate event happening, rajasa, tamasa, sattva coming. Then you have more control. You can control it. You can change it. If I have myself, that is hard to change. If something that is different from me, a state of mind, a phase of mind, then I can change it. Because something different from me, I have control over it. That's what a Trigunatita does. So in the verse 22, he says, Nadveshti sampravrittani. Sampravrittani means one or more of these three gunas occupy our mind, influence our mind. Nadveshti, it does not become perturbed. For some reason, a person becomes angry. Ordinary person becomes angry and yields and cannot separate it and acts out. Doesn't say things which are improper, which he would not have done it when he is not angry. Saner moments. But a Trigunatita will not yield. So mind is restless. There must be some reason. I'm not going to be perturbed by it. I will remain calm. That he separates himself. Nadveshti sampravrittani. When one of these three gunas or more of these three gunas come, a Trigunatita remains unperturbed by them, objectifies it, sees them, controls them. He does not yield. He does not become upset. Nivrittani kankshati. Supposing they leave, nivritti means leaving, departure. Then he does not want them back. As it comes, thank you for coming, but I remain unperturbed. Leaving, thank you for leaving, I remain unperturbed. That ability to remain unperturbed, uninfluenced, unaffected by the three gunas, that is a hallmark quality of a Trigunatita. You have to develop that quality. That means when anger comes, we should not become angry. We should not allow the mind to be influenced by it. Let the anger come. Observe it. When you observe it, it's an objectified. Then it has much less control over you. If you own it, then it will control you. You are overcome by anger. You have no control. But if you observe it, keep it separate from you, then you can control it. That's what a Trigunatita does. Let us understand more clearly how exactly to do this one in the subsequent verses. So we go to shloka number 23. Okay. Shloka 23. Udasinavadasino guneryo navichalyate gunavartante ityeva yovatishtati nengate. Udasinavat, when you see the suffix vat, balakavat, like a child, jadavat, like an inert person. What means just like? Udasinavat, as if he is indifferent. Udasina means an indifferent attitude, not taking sides one way or the other, remaining unperturbed, indifferent, not influenced by either side. If there are two people arguing with each other, and tendency is for us to take one side, one person's side. But Udasin, the Triguna-tita does not do that. He observes both of them, remains separate, uninfluenced, he remains calm and unperturbed. He does not take sides. Udasinavat, but he is not indifferent to the sufferings of others. He is very, very concerned, very sensitive. Even if the small ant is having trouble, supposing it falls into the cup of water and is struggling there, gently take it out and put it on it. He is very sensitive to the suffering of all other beings, creatures, not only human beings. That way he is not indifferent. He does everything possible to alleviate the suffering of other beings, including animals, plants, and inanimate objects too. Seeing the presence of God in all. But it does not act it out. Udasinavat, as if indifferent. What means as if indifferent? Gunaihi na vichalyate. That person remains unaffected by the gunas. When tamas comes, he does not lose control and become angry and yell and scream. When the rajas comes, he does not become too much involved in activity, running here and there, doing it, doing that, necessary and necessary. Does not do that. Remains calm under all circumstances. How does he manage to do that? Remain calm in spite of the influence of the three gunas, whereas ordinary people are subject to the influence of the three gunas? The second line of Shloka 23 that explains how a gunatita, trigunatita, remains calm in spite of the three gunas coming, like everybody else's mind. Guna vartanta ityeva yovatishtati nengate. Guna means the three gunas. They are the components of Prakriti, as you saw before in the earlier part of this chapter. It is the three gunas, Prakriti, consisting of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, that has taken the shape of the body, mind, sense organs, and sense objects. This physical body, I think I call it as me, which is the ignorance. I'm not the body mind. Vedanta says basic position of Vedanta is you're not the body mind, you're the Atma. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. But generally we have body consciousness. 99% of people. Though we theoretically know we are not the body mind, we are the Atman. In practice, we have body consciousness. Whatever happens to the body is happening to me. That's what we experience. But a Triguna-tita does not have that feeling. He separates himself from the body mind. All activities, karma, good, bad, everything, happens in the domain of the kshetra. In 13th chapter we studied kshetra. Kshetra means sense organ, sense object. You take any action, big or small. How does it happen? All actions happen as an interaction between one or more sense organs and one or more sense objects. Where is the eye? An ordinary person puts the eye there where it does not really belong. Am I the mind which says, I want to drink water? Am I the tongue which tastes the water? Am I the hand which takes the water cup to the mouth? Am I the body, digestive system which digests the water? Am I the water cup? Am I the table? There's no I in any of these transactions, series of things that happen in drinking water. A Jnani does not put the I where it does not belong. He says, Naina Kenchit Karami, 5, 8, and 9. Chapter 5, 8, and 9. Jnani's position. He also does action like everybody else. But he does not own the action, does not take upon kartrutva, kartapan. Kartrutva, I am the doer is not there. Work is happening, is there, objectifies it. That's the big difference between an ordinary person and a Trigunatika. Guna guneshu vartante. The one aspect of gunas, body, mind, sense organ, interacts with other aspects of guna, sense objects, action takes place. And I is not there in any of these things. I remain separate as an observer, as a sakshi. Since I don't have kartritva, agency for action, I don't have the result of action too. Doesn't karma phala also does not affect me. This is a very important point that we studied in the 5th chapter. Let us go back a little bit to understand guna vartante. Does not become affected. How does it remain unaffected by the 3 gunas? In the 3rd chapter, many years ago we studied 3rd chapter. It looks like that. Sloka 27-28. Very important slokas. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna said clearly that all actions happen at the body, mind, sense organ, sense object level. An ignorant person claims that he is the doer. Dear Shri Krishna is a strong language, 327 we are doing. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha. Prakrite gunehi. By the gunas of Prakriti, Tattva, Rajas, Tamas, sense organ, sense object. Mind is also a sense organ. Action is happening. Prakrite gunehi sarvasha karmani kriyamanani. All actions are happening in the domain of Prakriti. Body, mind, sense organ. Part of Prakriti. This body, all these bodies here, on this table, on this building, the tree standing outside, they're all part of nature. Whole nature, Prakriti. Just the object, it can be objectified. Just like I can objectify a tree. I'm not the tree, I'm seeing the tree. I don't say I'm the tree. But we say the mistake when I say I'm the body. Because the body just like a tree, part of the nature. The I consciousness is separate. Atman is separate. But there we cannot distinguish. I identify with the body. First mistake, original sin, if you can call that one. This is the cause of all suffering. Ahankara vimodatma karta miti manyate. Bhagavan Shri Krishna uses strong language here. A person who says, I am the doer, aham karta. Some people are fond of saying, I am the doer. I did this, I did that. I've done that one. I'm managing this one. I am the head. I'm doing this one. I'm the supervisor. I'm the CEO. They're fond of saying such things. Those people who claim that I am the doer, who are they? Sri Krishna calls them ahankara vimodatma. Foolish people say I'm the doer. Jnani says opposite. I'm not the doer. Naiva kanchit karomi. Both are doing action. Jnani does action. Ordinary people do action, but one says I am the doer, other says I am not the doer. How to resolve this one? Jnani also drinks water. Ajnani also drinks water. Ajnani says I am drinking water. Jnani says I am not drinking anything. You remember that famous story of Vyasa or Vasishta? Vyasa, I think. He was standing on the bank of the river Yamuna, and a group of gopis went there with their dairy products, milk and cheese and everything, yogurt. And they all wanted to cross the river. But there was a lot of water and they could not cross the river. So the gopis asked this sage, Vyasa, sir, how to cross the river? We have to go to the other side. Vyasa says, do you have anything for me to eat or drink? Gopi, we have a lot of milk and yogurt and cheese and whatever you want. He give it to me, he said. He takes all the eats it. Drinks all the milk and eats all the yogurt and everything. And then what happens? He says to Yamuna, Vyasa says, if I have not eaten anything, he just ate all those things. Then he says, if I have not eaten anything, please part and make way for us to cross. and the river makes a way. The pathway is made. Then the gopis and the Vyasa, everybody in the cross and the river crosses. The story is a legend maybe, but we have heard it so many times. A Jnani says, I am not the doer, though he has done action. If you ask him, you just drank all those things, and how do you say you didn't drink anything? The Jnani will say, Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante, naiva kinchit karomi. I didn't do anything. I didn't drink anything. I didn't eat anything. Then whatever, the food disappeared, milk and everything. Where did it go? He says, Indriyani, sense organs. My hand took the cup of the yogurt containing yogurt and milk, took it in the mouth, and the mouth took it in, and the tongue felt the taste, and the rest of the action was taken by the body, digestive system. Where is the eye? Am I the milk? Am I the cup? Am I the hand? Am I the tongue? Am I the body? Oh, I am Atman. No action. Naiva kinchit karomi. We cannot do that one because we don't have the feeling that I am the Atman. We are feeling that we are the body. So what is the way for people like us? I cannot honestly say I did not drink. When I drink water, I have to say I drink water. I cannot say I didn't drink water because I have the feeling, kartritva. I did drink the water. How can I say I cannot drink? I have to be truthful. What a Jnani says, I did not drink because he identifies with the Atman, not with the body mind. Water is drunk by body mind. But I cannot do that one. I have body consciousness. So for people like us, who cannot be Jnanis like Vyasa or somebody, for ordinary people, there are other ways out of becoming free from kartapan, kartritva. That we studied from earlier chapters, many places in the Gita, beginning from 3:30. And chapter 3, verse 30, Sri Krishna gives 5 instructions on how to do the work. The very first instruction there is 3:30, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Whenever you do any action, Bhagavan says, it's all how to become free from the 3 gunas. Whenever you do any action, sarvani karmani, what we have to do? Bhagavan says, Mai sanyasya. Sannyasa means offering, giving up. Dedicating, offering all actions to God as our offering. Offering means becoming free from attachment to that object. That's the meaning of offering. I'm no longer connected with the object. Then I am free. That one. Like this, many instructions we have studied before. Other instruction came in the 11th chapter, Shloka 33. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, you think you are the doer? Arjuna was asking the question, how can I kill Bhishma, Drona, Duryodhana, Karna, everybody with whom I grew up, who taught me, I don't want to kill. He thinks he was the killer. Arjuna was thinking that he is the doer. Shri Krishna says, you think you are the doer? Forget about it. I've already taken care of all these people. 11:33. Maya evete nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhavasavyasati. Nimitta means an instrument. Just be an instrument in my hand, go through the motions. I've already taken care of it. Maya purvameva mayava nihataha. Already it's a done deal. Don't think that you are doer. If you don't do it, it will be done by somebody else. My work will be done. So then what is Arjuna's role then? Nimittamatram bhava. Just be an instrument, go through the emotions. Like that, many different positions are there for people like us. Extreme position is Jnani, I am not the doer. We cannot do that one right now, not ready yet. And worst position is I am the doer. Ahankara Modapma. We don't want to be that one. So like this in the other places in the Gita, Bhagavan has showed us how to become free from work and its karma phala. Anyway, the Jnani here So coming back to Shloka 23, Guna Guneshu Vartante iti matva ityeva nengate avatishtati nengate. He takes the position, one part of gunas, sattva, tamas, taking the shape of body, mind, sense organs. He interacts with other part of guna, taking the shape of sense objects. By their interaction, action is happening. I am neither this nor that. I am free. That is the position of the Trigunatita. Now, this will come again, it will come before the 6th chapter also. Let us go to the 24, where the instruction is simpler. This looks complicated to say I'm not the doer, because I have the notion of being the doer. But the next instruction, everybody can do. Everybody, it's within reach of everyone. So let us go to 24. Samadukka sukha swastha samaloshtaashmakavanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samskritihi. This has come many times before. That means remaining equanimous under all circumstances, favorable or unfavorable. That we get every day, we get opportunity to practice that one, equanimity. We can do that one. So let us see 24. Samadukka sukha. Sukha means happiness. Dukkha means unhappiness, some kind of suffering. Our life is a mixture of both. Everybody's life. Only a little bit difference in the purpose. For some people, there is more sukha. For some people, there is more dukkha. So for some people, sukha comes in the early part of life. Dukkha comes in the latter part of life. For some people, the other way. But everybody's life, without exception, whoever be the person, president or richest person or a billionaire or a poor person or whoever, his or her life is a combination of sukha and dukkha. We get it every day. That means we get opportunity every day to practice equanimity. So what the Trigunatita does, sama sukha dukkha. When something good happens, we don't become too much elated and exalted and start celebrating. Next moment, things may change. When dukkha comes, we don't become too much depressed, angry, bitter, and yell and scream. We don't remain calm. This ability to remain calm under all circumstances, pleasant or unpleasant, happy or unhappy, is a very important quality that Sri Krishna tells at least 10 times in the Gita, in different places. Some of it we already know. Comes in the early second chapter, early it comes. Sloka number 38 in chapter 2, Bhagavan already had given this instruction. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha alabho jaya ajayau. Labha means profit. Alabha means loss, opposite of profit. Jaya means success. Ajaya means failure. Whatever we do, either we succeed or fail, or a combination of both. Some part of our work succeeds, some part will fail. Or it will succeed or fail. That's common experience of everybody. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. When sukha comes or dukkha comes, I remain calm. When sukha comes, I am not going to jump up and down and become arrogant and celebrate. When dukkha comes, I'm not going to become sad and angry or bitter and complain and make things worse. I remain calm. Sama dukkha sukha. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha alabho same kritva. In gain and loss, I remain calm. Sometimes in any work that we do, sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. Success and failure are not in our hands, as we saw in the second chapter. Our work that we put in, our effort, is only one of many factors that influence the outcome of our work. Other factors which are beyond our control, they also influence the outcome of our work, success, failure. We have no control. Sometimes you do the best effort possible, still failure comes. Sometimes you just do average effort, you succeed beyond you expected, because other factors beyond our effort, other than our effort, they have played a part in shaping the outcome of our work. What are the other factors? Go to 18th chapter, these factors are listed. Other factors are what other people do. Environment. Environment plays a big role in the shaping the outcome of our work. Environment may be the family environment. In some families, the environment is sattvic. Whatever you do will be successful. In some families, the toxic environment, people don't like each other, hatred, then whatever you do is not going to make any meaningless. Same thing in a company environment, corporate environment. Some companies, the environment is so conducive to work properly. Whatever you do will produce nice result. In some companies, the situation is not very good. People are fighting with each other. The boss is not cooperative. Co-workers are not cooperative. There, whatever you do, very difficult to succeed. You can't change the environment of the company. You can't change anybody else. You have to leave the company. There is no guarantee. Next company where you go things will be better. Maybe then you may say, "Oh, that was better than this one. Why did I come here?" So that won't work. In the same way, we have no control over the outcome of our work. You can only control the input, how I work, what methodology I use, what material I use. Even there we have no control. Company has its own policies. That's all we can do. Result is not in our control. That we know from the famous instruction in the 2nd chapter. Gita, Krishna said, Karmanye avadikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. Oh, Arjuna, te adhikara, your control. Karmani eva, only in the work you do. As far as your effort is concerned, you can change things. Phaleshu mate adhikara, in regard to fruit of work, you have no control because it depends upon other factors like weather, environment, co-workers, what they do, effect of past actions, something we did not do earlier is affecting my work now. All those things, I have no control, we can't change. Therefore, Trigunatita remains equanimous after having done his best in success and failure. Sukha dukkhe same kritva samadutta sukha swastha. And in regard to other people, animals and plants and situations, we also remain equanimous. There it says, very important phrases coming. Second part of Sloka 24, first line. Samaloshta kanchana. Exactly same phrase came earlier in the Gita. You remember? Samaloshta kanchana. There's a way to remember, I will tell you. Let us understand the phrase first. Loshta means a clod of earth. It's a mannangatti. It's of no use. You don't take a clear piece of earth and put it in your pocket. You put it there on the ground. Loshta means the clod of earth. Ashma means stone, piece of stone. So many pieces of stones are lying there. It just lies there. We don't save them. Put it in our pocket. If a piece of diamond is there, I will take and put it in my pocket. But if a piece of stone is there, I will just let it be there. Samaloshta Ashma. Kanchana means gold. For a Trigunatita, all these are the same value. For an ordinary person, gold is very valuable. Oh, I want to get gold. By some means or other, acquiring more gold, more jewelry, more diamond, very important. For a Trigunatita, it's the same. Gold or piece of stone or a clod of earth, it's all the same thing. Nothing is more valuable, nothing is less valuable. Everything has its place. We need earth for building construction. I can't use diamond to build the wall. We need the earth. Everything has its place. Samaloshta Kanchana. Treating everybody alike, everything alike. Now, let me make a little digression here. This phrase, Samaloshta Kanchana, which describes a Trigunatita, treating everything alike, Samadashitva. If you want to know if it has come somewhere else in the Gita, either before or in the subsequent later chapters, how will you know? There is a book that helps us to do that one. So, this book is called Bhagavad Gita Shloka Pada Suchi. Bhagavad Gita Shloka means a stanza, verse. Pada means 1/4. 1/4 of it. Each shloka has 4 parts in it in the Anushtup meter. Quarter index to the Bhagavad Gita. Every quarter is indexed here. Samaloshta Kanchana is a quarter, but that's not how the shloka begins. It comes in the middle somewhere. And if you go to this book, all the quarters are listed alphabetically. So if you go to Samaloshta Kanchana. So yet Samaloshta Kanchana. It comes in 1424, which is what we are studying. It also comes in 6:8. Chapter 6, sloka number 8. 2 places, same phrase comes, same quarter comes. So this book is helpful to find out where else this phrase, this quarter has come. This is one tool. There are other tools like that for the study of the Gita. Supposing you know only one word, you know it occurs in the Gita, but you don't know where, which sloka, which chapter. Just only one word you know. Give me any word that occurs in the Gita. Think of one word that you see in the Gita. Sita Prajna. Kutastha. Okay. Then there's a tool for that one. Kutastha. This book, Bhagavad Gita, with the commentary of Shankaracharya, translated by Swami Gambhirananda. This book has a word index. All the words that are occurring in the Gita anywhere in the 18 chapters, 700 slokas, they're all listed alphabetically. For every word, the chapter number, sloka number is given. If a word occurs in 4 different places, 4 different locations are given. So what were you saying? Kutastha. So let's go to the word index here. Word index. Index to words. This is also called a concordance. Concordance. There you go under alphabetically arranged. Your lava. Nisha, Karma, Ku, Ka, Kamam, Kim, Ki, Kunti, Kurun, Kuryat, Kuryam, Kutastha. Kutastha comes in 2 places in the Gita. It says, chapter 6, verse 8, chapter 15, verse 16. So this way, if you know any one word in the Gita, you can find out where it has come in how many places, chapter, verse. So these are important tools. Now we go back to 1424. Immediate digression. Samaloshta Kanchana. A Trigunatita treats everything alike. Everything has a place, everything has a value, but for him it is same. If you give him a piece of diamond or gold, it does not cherish it. If you give him a piece of stone or earth, he will also keep it. It has a purpose, it has a place when it can be useful. No attachment to one and no dislike of the other. Similarly, regarding to people, there are good people, bad people. And we don't become too much attached to somebody whom we like, and we don't become, we don't strongly dislike somebody whom we don't like. Equanimity, where did it come? Chapter 5, verse 18. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Shapakyecha Pandita Samadarshina. Samadarshitva, including animals. At one end of the spectrum, we have the highly qualified Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Brahmana. Brahmana means the seeker of Brahman or knower of Brahman. Such a person endowed with Vidya Vinaya, endowed education, knowledge, and humility also. Sometimes knowledge brings pride, but this person is humble, having knowledge. Then on the other end of the spectrum, Swapaka, a person who has no culture, who doesn't have, by birth is born in such an environment where he cannot have any opportunity for progress, no education, just somehow subsist by eating meat, hunting dogs. In between are other people like us. You are not either extreme. In between there are animals also. Shuni means dog, and then Hastini means elephant. All of these animals and people, whole spectrum of creation for a Trigunatita, they are all alike. How are they alike? They are also different from each other. But there is one thing that is common to all beings, regardless of their outer qualities. What is that one thing common to all beings? Divine presence in all. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. The Supreme Parameshwara is present in all the beings, samam, in the same way. In some, his presence is more manifest. You can clearly see and experience. In some, his presence is hidden deep under layers of ignorance we can't see. He himself does not know God is present in them. Much less can we see God's presence. But we treat everybody alike. But God's presence is unconditional. It does not depend upon whether we know it or believe it or experience it. He's there. That's the consideration for Samadarshitva. Samaloshta Kanchanaha. Next line, 24. Tulya Priya Priyo Hiraha. Priya means something pleasant. Apriya means something unpleasant. Both things happen in our life almost every day. Something good happens, something bad happens. Something it may be intense, something it may be mild, good or bad. That's the mixture of life, that's the nature of life, everybody's life. Whereas an ordinary person reacts differently to different situations, something good happens, he becomes very happy, exultation, celebration. Next moment, things will change. He is not concerned about that. This moment, I'm very happy. That may celebrate. You can see when people watching Super Bowl or the basketball playoff final, somebody does a touchdown. The game is happening somewhere else, 100 miles away, hundreds of miles away. And the people are playing, they are making a lot of money and they are the player. But I am watching here in front of a TV, people become so excited. Oh, touchdown means everybody, oh, like that, they stand up and make a lot of my excitement. Excitement. That is not what a Trigunatita does. Tulya Priya Apriya. Apriya means unpleasant. In some soccer games, in some countries, if their team loses, the fans become very angry. They start beating up the coach and attack the winning team member. It's all not good. These are subject to the three gunas. Anger, like that one. Jealousy. Tulya Priya Priyaha. This came several times. Can you remember one place this came? Tulya Priya Priyaha? Earlier chapters. How about 520? Na prahrishyet priyam prapya. Priyam prapya na prahrishyet. Something pleasant happens, We should not become too much elated because it's going to change. Apriyam prapinna udvijet. Something apriya happens, unpleasant time, we should not become too much perturbed, angry, bitter, and yelling and screaming, becoming depressed. Should not happen. Tulya priya priyaha. Dhiraha. Dhiraha means, dhi means intelligent, meda shakti, intellect, strong intellect, very sharp intellect. Tikshna buddhi, agra buddhi, Upanishad says. And dhiraha means also with strength, endowed with strength and knowledge. Such a person, tulya ninda atma samstutihi. Ninda means blame. Some people always blame you no matter what you do. You can never do right for them. Some people always praise you. No matter what you do, they will praise you. You can do, never know. You cannot do anything wrong. And same people who praise us today for one thing, they blame us tomorrow for the same thing. That's the nature of the world. You can't do anything about it. But what I should do, I can't change the world. I can't change how people think about us. Let us leave it there. I remain unaffected by whether people praise me or blame me. And people blame me, I should not become angry, upset, and yell and scream. And people praise me, I should not become too much elated and proud. I'm such a great man like that. We should come. Tulya priya, tulya nindatma samstuti. Ninda means blame. Stuti means praise.
Chapter 12:19.
12:19. What does Sri Krishna says there? Tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kena chit. Nice, like that one. These things are all come so many times before. Gita is full of repetition. We need repetition. If you hear once, you won't remember. We forget it. If you hear once, read once. You have to be told many times. Then slowly it enters our mind. And then they keep retain it and assimilate it and practice it. We need to hear many times. That's why repetition is there. So these are all qualities of Tribunatita, which you can practice. Every day we get opportunity in your life. Something would happen, something bad happens. I got the chance to practice equanimity in praise and blame, in good and bad, in gain and loss, these things. So these are the things that we have to practice. So this is how a person becomes a Tribunatita, by practicing these virtues. Then we'll do one more shloka, 25. Manapamanayo tulyaha tulyo mitrari pakshayo sarvaramba parityagi gunatitassa uchyate. Gunatita is he who remains mana apamanayo tulyaha. Tulya means samana, equal. In mana apamana, in some people respect us, honor us, some people apamana, they insult us and embarrass us. But where ordinary person reacts in either case, a Tribunatita remains calm. Let one put garlands on, another kick his friend. Remember Swamiji's famous Song of Sannyasin, which he composed in 1895 in 1000 Island Park. There, this one stanza, 13 stanzas are there. This one stanza. He then no more how body lives or goes. Its task is done. Let one put garlands on, another kick this frame, say not. No praise or blame can be, where praise or praised, and blame or blamed are one. Thus be thou calm, Sannyasin bold, say, Om Tat Sat Om. Remaining calm, unaffected. That people jump up and down, let them play, let them blame. I'm not going to be affected by it. Otherwise, I'm handing over control of my mind to other people. They can push buttons and make us jump up and down. I'll be at their mercy. They can say something and make me very upset, and they can say something and make me happy. Why should I give control of my mind to other people? I keep control of my mind. You do whatever you like, doesn't affect me. Unless I allow it to affect, it won't affect me. Nothing is like, everything is like that. Unless I allow myself to be affected by what other people do and say what happens in life, I will not be affected. That independence we should keep. So it depends upon us. A Trigunatita remains unaffected. Let people praise him, blame him, give him reward, or take away something from him, he remains calm, unaffected. These are the qualities of Trigunatita. Mitra Aripakshayoho, still 25 shloka. Mitra Aripakshayoho tulyaha. Ari means enemy, people who don't like us. There are people, no matter what we do, they don't like us. There are other people who are friendly, no matter what I do, they are friendly towards me. But I am not affected by their friendliness or their dislike of me. I remain calm. So, Tulya Mitra Aripakshayo. Mitra means friend. Mitra means a friend who does good things to us without expecting anything in return from us. That came in chapter 6, verse 9. Ari means a person who does not like me for whatever reason. Tulya Mitra Aripakshayoho Tulyaha. Whether some people are enemies, consider us as their enemies, or consider them us as their friends, I remain calm, same towards all. That came in exactly same words came in chapter 6, shloka number 9. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Suhar Mitra Yudasena Madhyasthadveshya Bandhushu Sadhushvapicha Papeshu Samabuddhi Vishishyate. Some people do commit bad deeds, papis. Some people always do good deeds. The sadhus, I treat all of them alike, seeing the one thing common between them. What is the one thing that is common between the wicked person and the saintly person? Same divine presence in all. The one person remains hidden. In the wicked person's case, God is present in him, but he is not aware of God's presence. He is steeped in deep ignorance. The other person, God is present in the same way. He has realized he is experiencing God's presence every moment. God's presence is more clearly manifest in that person's life. To a Trigunatita, both are same because in both of them, same divinity is there. That's what he sees. He is not carried away by the outward appearance, personality of a person. A Trigunatita, when he sees a person, he is not carried away by the outer features of that person's personality. How much money he has, how much education he has, what work he does, what profession, what food he eats, what language he speaks. These are of not much consequence. The divine presence in all of them is the only thing that determines the relationship with all beings, not only human beings, animals and plants. I should treat this inanimate object also gently, kindly, in the same way as I treat a person, as I treat a child. Because in the table, in everything around me, inanimate objects, in trees and plants, in people, animals and plants, same divinity is present in the same way. There's one message of Vedanta, comes throughout the Gita. Where does it come in the Gita? God is present in all. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu. Sarveshu bhuteshu samam tishtantam parameshwaram. Parameshwara sitting in the same way in all the beings, and saintly people and wicked people, animals and plants, inanimate objects also. In some, his presence is very clearly manifest. We can see in saintly people. Even if you go near them, in their very ambience, we can feel the peace and tranquility. They radiate spirituality without saying anything, doing anything. No lecture, no class, no question, no answer, nothing, no puja, nothing. Their very presence is enough. They radiate peace and tranquility and spirituality without doing anything, saying anything. People who go there and their ambience, they feel peace and joy. But other people, wicked people, if you somehow go there, you feel something uncomfortable. There is something wrong with this guy. He got that bad vibe when he sees some people. He doesn't do anything or say anything, but that atmosphere, they create that atmosphere. God's presence remains hidden under deep layers of ignorance. So the Trigunatita is a person who radiates peace and joy all the time, always. Mitra Ripakshayoho. Then last line of 25. Sarvaramba Parityagi Gunatitasta Uchate. Aramba means beginning something. Surukarna, Aramba. Now, Aramba here means beginning some activity with a selfish motive. Certain activities we have to do, they require duties. Niyata karma. Everybody has niyata karma, our duty or your duty, that is required to be done, that we have to do. But there are certain other activities which people do, which are not required actually, but they do it to gain something from that one, calculated. If I do this one, I'll get this benefit, this much happiness, I'll get this much money, I will get this benefit, advantage, I will get, like that, with a calculated motive, motivated action, with a specific motivation to gain from it. That activity is called Aramba. Sarvaramba Parityagi means that Trigunatita does not do anything except as it is required. Niyata karma he does very well, nicely, efficiently, joyfully, gratefully. But all other activities which are supposed to bring selfish benefit for oneself, that he or she does not. If it benefits everybody, he will certainly do it. Not for oneself. Sarvaramba Parityagi Saha Gunatita iti Uchati. So these are all, this description continues. These are all qualities of a Trigunatita. These are also list of things for us to do. We have to practice all these virtues. And then we also become Trigunatita. So Arjuna's question was, what are the signs of a Trigunatita? And hidden in that question is, how can I become Trigunatita? He doesn't say that one, but that's the real question. So we'll continue this year. How many? 2-3 more verses. Next time we shall continue and begin chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga. Let me say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble and dharmic and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of misery or suffering. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all. And if you have some comments or questions, we can take a few minutes.
Swamiji, the signs of devotee in chapter 12 in this kind of are very similar.
Yeah.
Chapter 12, devotee signs.
Almost sign of a devotee, sign of Chitta Prajna, sign of Trigunati, are all almost the same, not much different, same qualities. If you become one, you become the other two also. If you have bhakti, you will become Trigunatita, you will become Chitta Prajna. If you become Chitta Prajna, you will have bhakti and rise over the 3 gunas. Very nice.
Namaskar, Swamiji. Siva here.
Namaskar.
I wanted to ask that the Sthita Prajna who says, I am not the doer, and the story that you told that the gopis crossed it.
Yeah.
All that. And he says, if I have not eaten, obviously what he meant by I was Atma, only the body ate. But then some people commit crimes, as you know what all is going on now, and if they say, I didn't commit any, this body did, or push it off on a God, how do do you reconcile that?
We cannot say that one because we have body consciousness. There is a parable. There was a Brahmana who had a garden. He was very proud of his garden. He was maintaining it very well, flowers and fruits he was growing. One day a cow came and ate up all the fruits and flowers, and he became very angry. He was so angry that he took a stick and beat the cow, and the cow died. Then people asked him, why did you kill the cow? He said, no, I did not kill the cow. My hands killed the cow. I'm not the hand, I'm not the body, I'm the Atma. He said like that one. Then Indra, who is in charge of the hands, Adi Devata, Indra comes in the form of an ordinary person and starts admiring the garden. The Brahmana is very proud. Oh, I had all these fruits and flowers, but the foolish cow one came and eat up. So why did the Indra in form of ordinary person? He says, oh, you killed the cow? No, I did not kill the cow. My hands killed the cow. Then Indra says, okay, it's hands killed the cow. I'll take away the hands. That should not bother you because you're not the body. Then Brahmana, no, I don't take away my hand. So I can't go back and forth. You say I'm not the body, then you have to maintain it into all circumstances.
Right.
So it's not just saying, it is must come from within experience. That's very high state. Overcoming body consciousness, Yatma Buddhi, it comes at the very end. In the beginning, we have to behave, we have body consciousness, so we have to conform to that, not do bad things at all. And as long as we have the notion of Kartritva, I am the doer, we have to do only good things and refrain from doing bad things.
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Juno.
Maharaj, so you said, you mentioned this before also in Gita, but so the bhakti can take you beyond all these gunas.
Yes, it will come in the next verse. The same result you can get by practicing bhakti. Shloka 26. Next shloka will say, one way is to follow the path of jnana. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm the Atman. That's difficult for majority of people. But Sri Krishna makes it easier for everybody. In the next verse, Mam chayu avyabhicharena bhakti yodena sevate. If we worship God with pure devotion, unmotivated devotion, not seeking from God, not out of fear or desire, worship God out of pure love, same result will come. So two paths are there, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga also leads to the same path. So it depends upon our ability, interest, whichever path is suitable, we can follow. Goal is the same, paths are many. That's the beauty of Vedanta. We don't say this is the only way to reach God. If you don't do this one, you will not reach God. We don't say that one. As many paths as there are seekers.
Thank you. Thank
you. One more question.
Okay.
I keep getting that again and again. And they keep saying at another places, they keep saying that Sri Krishna is the main God and everybody else is secondary, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. And Sri Krishna is not the 8th avatar of Vishnu. So again and again, I get confused. They said Sri Krishna is the main God and he did 100% descension avatar as the 8th avatar of Vishnu. So what
it is true. It's mentioned in the Bhagavata, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Bhagavan himself. But same thing is said about Rama,
right?
Another avatars too. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're all Lord himself, assuming various forms. Because only when a person as a human being communicates, we can understand. God comes in all the forms, in the form of all the trees, animals, God is teaching us. In the form of nature, same lesson God is giving 24 hours a day. but we can't grasp it. We understand if a human being tells us, so they come in human form. For example, in the Bhagavata, there is a story of a Avadhuta who learned all the lessons of Vedanta by non-human teachers. One lesson he learned was from observing a bird which catches fish. Certain birds have the ability to come in a smooth cargo, see a fish underwater, dive and come up with the fish in its mouth and fly away and eat. There are certain types of birds like that. So one bird did like that. Caught a fish and wanted to eat it, the fish, and sitting on a tree. It was looking for a tree to sit down and eat the fish it had caught. What happened was, so many other crows, hundreds of crows, they saw the fish in the bird's beak, and they all wanted to snatch the same fish. All the crows started chasing this bird, and they would not leave the bird in peace. Wherever the bird went, the crows went after that one. Hundreds of crows seeking to snatch the fish in the bird's beak. Finally, the bird became so tired, exhausted, it could not sit in a place. It dropped the fish, and the fish dropped from its beak. And then all the crows went after the fish and left the bird. So what does this incident teach? The Avadhuta learned the fish is like a desire. Human beings have so many desires. As long as you have desire in your mind, you have no peace of mind. One desire is enough to make us restless. You have so many desires. The moment you give up the desires, total absolute peace and joy. That lesson, Avadhuta learned. We see the bird every day. We don't learn anything. For example, a tree is standing there, day and night, in winter and summer, in fall and rainy season, does not complain. The tree is standing there, still continues to give its fruits and products. So by observing a tree, Avadhuta got the lesson of forbearance. Whatever be the condition, very hot, very cold, snow or wind, the tree remains in the same position without complaining, still continues to give its products. In the same way, a person should remain calm and uncomplaining no matter what the conditions are. Sometimes it is too hot, some people praise, some people blame, sometimes too cold, sometimes I'm sick, sometimes I'm well, sometimes there's food, no food. I remain calm like a tree. Like that, we can get all the lessons of Vedanta by observing the nature around us. But we don't do it. We want human person to come and teach in our language, in English or Hindi or Kannada or whatever our language. Then we understand in fact. That's why God comes in human forms. It's all one God playing all these roles.